Well, the courtroom was very quiet. In fact, the judge's clerk had warned the crowd a couple of times that if there were any demonstrations, that anyone who demonstrated or had an outburst would be held in contempt. And so everyone was quiet. As the jury came in, two of the women on the jury were red-faced. They were flushed in their cheeks, looked like they had been crying. Well, no one knew, of course, how long this would go. They ended up deliberating about 14 hours, a little more than 14 hours, over 3 days. This was their second, almost full day of deliberations. No one could tell how long it was going to take. Often when he sits at the defense table before the jury comes into the room, we've seen him talk and laugh lightly with his attorneys, especially with one of his attorneys. He did not do that today. He looked very somber. They all looked very somber. And then he and the defense team were asked to stand when the verdict was about to be read, and they looked extremely somber at that point. He kept his head slightly bowed, not all the way down, but slightly bowed, and he kept his hands folded near his waist area as they were reading the verdict. He didn't appear to look at the jury as the verdict form was being read, but then after his lawyer, David Bruck, asked the judge to poll the jurors individually to confirm that each of the 12 had in fact voted for death, he did look at them at that point while they were being polled individually. It was powerful. The first juror, was asked, "Is this your verdict?" And he said, "Yes, it is." And then he said, "Juror number 2," and he repeated that up till juror number 12, and they all just said yes in soft voices. It was powerful because it was confirmation that they had indeed sentenced him to death, and all agreed on it. His lawyers fought very hard to move the trial outside of Massachusetts, and they failed. They had 3 or 4 attempts where the judge shot them down on that. Some legal observers thought that he had a good chance of having his trial moved, so I think that will be one of the main grounds they appeal on.